Hey Josiah, I thought it might be easiest if I just created a quick video to respond to your email here with your attachment. And I appreciate you explaining in detail your thought process and everything here. That really makes it a lot easier for me to figure out what and help you. So this on the left is the original. On the right is what you submitted with your changes here. So of course, one of the things you changed, which is of course correct, is the calculation of the average. That was a good one to get. Then in let's see, you mentioned eliminating lines 22 and 23 down here, um, and there is an issue there, and honestly, I mean, your reasoning is sound in as much as this, it doesn't make sense to why to output the first score and then input the second test score. But if you look, and basically, I mean, your bottom line was code didn't call for a loop, and when I read this, you're right. It didn't say that it needed to be a loop. It makes logical sense. I think you could agree if you look at it. I mean, it makes sense as a loop, right? Because think of it as an operator of the program needs to input tests for multiple students, most likely, right? That you don't want to have to sit there and double click on, let's say this is a program, you double click the icon on the desktop. You don't want to double click it, do one thing. Okay, now I got to go back, double click it. Oh, now it would probably be easier to just go straight to entering a new first test number, right? Which is what it said. It said enter first score or 0 to quit, which would allow you to run through this over and over. And that does kind of speak to your other question, or your main question here, which is housekeeping input used primarily for a loop, and that is absolutely correct. It's really, not only is it primarily for a loop, it's only because we need structure, and I mean, the loop in a sense would work if you could say, oh well, I'm going to do these two lines and then the loop and then these two lines, but you have to enter, the loop has to have a single entry and exit point, and so that's why we have this priming input up here, that housekeeping task that you're talking about. So yeah, that if you eliminate the whole concept of it being a loop, then that's fine. This actually was one of the bugs, the input second test, because of course that wouldn't help us, because when we did loop back around, we would be checking the value of first test, and if, let's say I wanted to quit after one run of the program, or after 5 runs of the program, let's say I'm ready to quit, well, not to mention there's another issue here, but let's say I entered 0, well, the 0 would be stored in the second test variable, and first test would not evaluate as 0 in order to cause the loop to end. So of course that's a problem. So really, eliminating these lines doesn't, by itself, it's not enough. If you say there shouldn't be a loop, then you really need to eliminate the loop. You need to take the while and end while out of the program, because otherwise you've created an endless loop for yourself, which there already is an endless loop because of this bug, but you've ensured that it definitely is an endless loop by what you did there. So I hope this is making sense. Your other question, why are the declarations for the average and the passing, and I'm not sure that that's important in a sense at this point. Average and passing, I mean, all the declarations are up here. These are what we would call working variables. They're variables where we're going to store the values used during the program, including during a mathematical operation, and the value that we're going to use to compare the result, and determine whether we're going to output pass or fail. And so that's an important thing that I need to come back to, because what you said you did here is incorrect. But I mean, there's a bug here. There's a bug that you need to address, but it's not addressed in the way that you were trying to address it, and it's confusing in the format that we do code in here. It would be a lot more clear in most programming languages, because the syntax would be this. if average is equal to passing. It's an equal to operator in most programming languages is going to be like a double equals. It's going to be something other than the assignment operator, because the assignment operator is also the equals. In fact, in most programming languages, it is just a single equals. In the pseudocode, we have a vagueness to it because we use the same operator for equals as we use for the assignment operator, which in a way is good in that it makes you understand contextually, okay, which is it? Because there's only two contexts in which it is a comparison operator, where it could be changed to a different comparison operator, because greater than or equal to is definitely a comparison operator, and that is in a while statement and in an if statement. Those are conditional statements. So what you have done here, and obviously it makes sense, right, to say if average is greater than or equal to passing, or if average is equal to passing. Logically, I mean, that's not hard to understand. But think about this. You're saying that I need to write down a number, store it in memory in the computer. This is like saying write down a number on a piece of paper, and I need you to write down the number 60 and every other number in the universe that is greater than 60. That's a physical impossibility. No matter what the parameters are, it is physically impossible to write every number that's greater than 60 and store it in any form. Whether I told you to write down on a piece of paper, store it in memory, you can't do that. You can store a number and then compare to that number, and that's what we're doing here. And there was another thing here that you changed, maybe accidentally, but you changed this all to lowercase. It's not lowercase down here. Case does matter in programming. Case is very important when you're dealing with variable names and stuff. So again, change it both places or don't change it at all. But yeah, this should have been if average is greater than or equal to passing, and leaving passing at 60. Is there one more bug? I'm trying to think. Is it just those? Is it 1, 2, yeah, there is another bug. There's another one that you haven't found in here yet. So you seem to be pretty onto this. I'm going to go ahead and let you find it, I think, rather than say, oh, here it is. Let me think about how much hint I want to give you here. So enter first score, 0 to quit. If they if they enter 0 to quit, it doesn't quit. It continues to go through the loop. This statement evaluates true when you enter a 0, instead of evaluating false, so that it would go past the end while to the stop. That's what you need, right? You need it to evaluate false to end the loop. Hopefully you've gotten that much out of chapter 3 that, and it'll be more clear. I mean, if you want to look ahead to chapter 5, that really just talks about loops. But yeah, that's where we're at there. So, okay, I made this video too long already, but I hope this is a better answer than I could have typed up, probably, especially in this amount of time. Saves me some time. So if you have any more questions, let me know. Thanks.